Welcome back to Andy and Anna Talks, where we delve into the pivotal issues shaping our world today. Today, we're exploring a figure whose ambitions and ventures are poised to redefine the next decade, Elon Musk. And look, this isn't just a, general chat. This is a deep dive. It's specifically tailored for you, actually, based on a whole stack of sources you shared with us. We're looking at, well, everything really: space, robotics, AI, his business strategies, all through the lens of the material you sent over.
That's right. And our goal here is to sift through these sources, and pull out the absolute most important nuggets of knowledge. Think of us as sort of guides, maybe, helping you quickly get a handle on what's happening in these key areas, and importantly, why it really matters right now.
Okay, sounds good. So let's maybe start with the most audacious frontier covered in the sources: space exploration. With SpaceX, the material spends a fair bit of time on Starship.
It really does.
Yeah.
And, the sources are pretty upfront about the challenges. We saw mention of a recent suborbital test flight that didn't quite go to plan,
Yeah.
ended prematurely, something about a propellant leak.
Yeah, I saw that.
But what's interesting is how the material frames these things.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, total failure.
Yeah.
It's presented more as, part of the process.
Yeah.
That intense iterative development thing Musk is known for.
Exactly, that rapid iteration. Which I guess fuels the incredible ambition we see highlighted. The sources talk about a massive ramp up in Starship launches.
Oh, absolutely. The aim is,
Yeah.
well, it's incredibly aggressive. They're targeting something like one launch every 3 to 4 weeks.
Every 3 to 4 weeks. Seriously.
Yeah. If they actually hit that pace, the sources suggest we could be looking at up to, 25 test flights this year alone?
25. Wow.
That's a lot.
And the material connects this frantic testing pace directly to the big goal, right? Preparing for a Mars mission.
Yeah, that's the one. There's even a potential timeline hinted at in there, possibly as early as next year.
Next.
I know. And here's really fascinating detail the sources threw in. They mentioned planning to include a humanoid robot, Optimus, on that Mars journey.
Optimus on Mars. Okay, now that's something.
It really puts the scope into perspective. So thinking about this relentless push, these frequent launches, what does this potentially mean for you listening? Why should these tests matter? Is it about, I don't know, future travel possibilities, the space economy, or maybe just the sheer inspiration of pushing those boundaries? Food for thought. Okay, so let's maybe unpack that a bit and pivot. We're going from launching things into space to moving things around on the ground. The sources shift focus pretty clearly to Tesla, highlighting quite a significant new direction for the company.
Yeah, and one source gives us a very specific date that really jumps out. You saw that. The planned launch of Tesla's dedicated Robotaxi service in Austin, Texas, scheduled for June 12th, 2025. That date feels like a key marker in the material.
It really does. It's flagged pretty clearly.
Yeah.
And the sources explain, this isn't just like adding another service on the side. It's described as a major strategic shift for Tesla. They seem to be moving primary focus away from developing new EV platforms and really concentrating resources on autonomous transportation.
Right. And the sources provide some pretty important context around this pivot, too. They describe the success of this robotaxi trial as, well, absolutely critical.
A high stakes.
Very high stakes, especially given the various challenges Tesla is reportedly facing globally. Things like sales declines, definitely increased competition in the EV market.
Yeah, that's everywhere now.
And also, the sources mention public backlash linked to Musk's political affiliations. We're just, reporting what the material presents here, trying to stay neutral on the context it gives.
Understood. Completely. And the potential impact, if it works. As framed in the sources, it's potentially enormous. It could fundamentally redefine urban mobility. So think about it. What would a widely available robotaxi service like this actually mean for your daily commute? Or just how you even think about getting from point A to point B? It's a big shift.
And speaking of big shifts, Optimus, the humanoid robot we heard, might be going to Mars.
Ah, yes, Optimus.
The program is highlighted in the sources as, well, another major facet of Tesla's work, or it's closely linked ventures.
Yeah, definitely linked. And the production targets discussed in the material are, frankly, they're staggering. The plan mentioned is to produce 10,000 Optimus units in 2025.
10,000 next year. Okay.
But then there's this incredibly ambitious future target thrown out there, something like 100 million units annually.
100 mil annually. It's a huge number.
Okay, and the initial stated purpose for these robots, according to the sources, it's quite specific, right? Focused on factory operations. Initially, yes. Factory work seems to be the starting point mentioned, but the broader vision presented in the sources, it extends far beyond that. suggesting applications across a whole range of industries, potentially transforming many different kinds of work.
It really paints this picture, doesn't it? A glimpse of a future possibility hinted at in the material. A future where humans and robots are, I don't know, working side by side pretty seamlessly. When you hear about robots like Optimus, especially at that kind of scale, what's your immediate reaction? Is it excitement about the possibilities? Or maybe caution about the changes?
Yeah.
Or something else?
It's definitely something to think about. Now, moving on to the realm of artificial intelligence, the sources also highlight some significant strides being made by Musk's AI company, XAI.
Right, XAI. And the material gives us a specific, pretty notable investment detail there. XAI recently invested, what was it, $300 million?
Yeah, $300 million.
To the messaging platform Telegram.
Exactly. And the reason for this partnership and investment, as explained in the sources, seems pretty clear. It's all about integrating XAI's advanced AI chatbot,
Grok, right.
directly into the Telegram platform.
And the potential scale of that integration, it's huge.
Yeah.
They're aiming to bring Grok's capabilities to over 1 billion Telegram users.
1 billion users.
Yeah.
It's about significantly enhancing communication with these cutting-edge AI features.
That's massive reach.
It really is. And this move, I think, underscores a recurring theme we kind of see woven through the sources. Musk's drive to make advanced AI broadly accessible, deeply integrated into daily life. Think about the AI tools maybe you already interact with.
Yeah.
How might integrating something like a sophisticated AI chatbot directly into your everyday messaging app, how might that change the way you communicate or get information?
Interesting question. Okay, the sources also touched on something a bit different. A recent shift in Musk's public involvement, specifically mentioning a change in his political activities.
Yes, that was in there. The material reports a specific action. Musk announced he was ending his time as a special government employee within the Trump administration.
Right. And for listeners maybe unfamiliar, that's usually like a temporary, often unpaid advisory kind of role, right?
Typically, yes. Advisory.
And the reason given for this decision, according to the sources anyway, was an expressed desire to refocus, to put his energy squarely back onto his business ventures.
And the material from the sources provides some context around that, noting that this shift comes after, well, a period where his political activities drew some criticism.
Right.
And it seems aligned with maybe a renewed emphasis on innovation and productivity within his companies. Again, just relaying the context presented in the source material here.
Absolutely. So the sources kind of frame this move as maybe a strategic retreat, pulling back from the political arena to concentrate on the transformative technologies his companies are pushing. How do you see that relationship playing out, that dynamic between, business ambition and the world of politics, especially in the context of everything else we've just discussed?
It's a fascinating interplay. And bringing all these different threads together now, the rockets, the cars, the robots, the AI, the sources really start to discuss the broader implications of Musk's vast kind of interconnected endeavors. It's clear from the material provided that his influence extends far beyond just the specific companies themselves.
Yeah, the sources list some specific, really wide-reaching areas of impact, affecting financial markets, shaping employment trends, even influencing geopolitics. It's pretty broad.
Very broad. But importantly, the sources also introduce sort of the flip side, the counterbalance to all this ambition and rapid advancement, which are the concerns that naturally arise with such concentrated influence.
And the material details those concerns pretty clearly, highlighting the concentration of power in effectively one individual or a related set of companies, and also the ethical considerations, which always come hand in hand with developing these kinds of transformative technologies so quickly.
Right. And what's fascinating here
here's where it gets really interesting.
Exactly. This raises an important question. As the sources phrase it, navigating this landscape involves a really delicate balance, doesn't it, between driving innovation forward on one hand and ensuring accountability on the other.
Okay, so considering everything we've unpacked from these sources you sent, from, the race to Mars and ubiquitous robotaxis to humanoid robots and AI popping up in our messages, what are some of the biggest, most pressing questions these developments raise for you personally, or maybe for society at large?
Yeah, it's a lot to mull over.
Yeah.
So just to quickly wrap up what the sources laid out for us, Musk's vision, clearly spanning multiple sectors, is undeniably pushing boundaries. Hard. And it seems poised to significantly shape, well, the next decade at least.
For sure. And understanding these rapid changes feels pretty crucial. The stack of sources you provided really gave us a valuable roadmap, actually, into what's driving these developments. Thanks for sharing them.
Definitely. And as suggested in the material itself, really thoughtfully engaging with the implications,
Mm,
the consequences of such transformative changes.
mm.
That feels essential as we all navigate this rapidly evolving landscape.
Right. And maybe for a final thought for you to consider, building on that balance, that innovation versus accountability idea,
Mhm.
and those ethical considerations mentioned in the sources, think about where you see the line being drawn between ambitious, maybe even world-changing innovation
Mm.
and the potential societal impact it creates. What questions do we as a society really need to be asking ourselves right now about the future that's actively being built?
Good question to leave things on. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the sources.
Stay curious, stay informed.